Well, hello YouTube family, welcome back to Binta's Kitchen. I want to use this opportunity to say a big thank you to all my subscribers for your constant love and support. I can't thank you guys enough. I want you to know that I appreciate you from the bottom of my heart. And if you're new to this channel this is your first time you're just tuning in and you haven't subscribed yet, please don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so that whenever I upload a video, you will be the first to know. And for today, I'm going to show you how to prepare cassava bread from scratch. Yes, cassava bread with fried fish. If you're from Sierra Leone, you know what I mean. And I know there are other countries as well that do cassava bread, but for us in Sierra Leone, we normally do it with fried fish. So I'm going to show you how I prepare cassava bread with fried fish from scratch with a fresh cassava root. So if you're interested to see how I prepare this delicious cassava bread, please stay tuned. And without any further ado, let's get into the cooking right here in Binta's Kitchen. Well, for those of you who don't know how cassava looks like, this is the fresh cassava roots and this is how it looks like. And I'll be using this fresh cassava root today to make our cassava bread. At this point, I'll just go ahead and cut the cassava in 2 halves just to make it easier for me when I'm peeling it. As you can see, the cassava itself is white, so I'm just going to peel the cassava. And please guys, make sure when you're doing this you take extra care because you don't want to cut your fingers. And this is the most easiest way for me to peel. If this is not your own way of peeling it, you can peel the cassava whichever way is convenient for you, as long as you take extra care so that you don't cut your fingers. So after this, I'm going to wash the cassava and I'm going to use my grater. Please make sure you use the smallest side of your grater because we are looking for a smooth texture, and that side is the smallest side of my grater, so I'm going to use that side to grate the cassava. And as I said earlier, please take extra care while you're doing this as well because you don't want to grate your fingers. So after grating, I will show you the texture that I achieve. This is what I achieved and this is exactly what I'm looking for. I also went ahead off camera and I grated more cassava. So this is all what I achieved. This is about 3 chunks of cassava that I grated, like the size of the one I showed you earlier, 3 of that size. So this is what I achieved. And now at this point, I'll go ahead and squeeze all the water out of the cassava. To do that, you will need like a cheesecloth or clean kitchen towel or a strainer. But I advise you to use either a cheesecloth or a strainer. For me, I don't have a cheesecloth, but I'm going to use my kitchen towel. And please make sure whatever you use is clean. So I'm just going to put some of the cassava in the cloth and I'm going to show you how I squeeze the water. So you make sure you squeeze really hard, guys. We need to get all the water out of the cassava. Please use all those muscles and squeeze that water. You need to get all the water out of the cassava. We don't need it. So guys, I went ahead and squeezed all the water, and basically this is what I kept on doing. And after everything, this is the water that I got out of the cassava. We don't need it, so I'm just going to get rid of it. And after that, you make sure you separate the cassava. You don't want it to be lumpy, so you're going to separate it and just make sure that it's all smooth. Get rid of all the lumps before you start making the cassava bread. Otherwise your cassava bread will be lumpy and you will not enjoy it. So this is what I kept on doing until everything was smooth. After that, I went on and added 1 cube of Maggi. I used the Knorr cube. This is optional, guys. I just like to add Maggi or salt to my cassava bread just to give it a little bit of taste. You don't have to. It's not like you can still do your cassava bread without this step, but I just like to do it that way. So after that, I went ahead and placed my pan, my frying pan. I use this pan mainly to fry fish or whatever I want to fry. I placed my frying pan over the heat, but because this frying pan is big and I don't have any smaller one, so I went ahead and also used my baking pan. I'm going to place my baking pan inside of my frying pan, guys. This is my own technique. Yes. But if you have a small frying pan, you don't have to put another pan like I'm doing. You can just put your cassava straight into the frying pan. But because I don't have a smaller one, I went ahead and used my baking pan here. So basically, I'm going to put the cassava inside of the baking pan. I'm going to use that circle. And this also helped me to give my cassava bread a nice round shape. This is also making it easier for me to cook the cassava bread. So now you see what I'm doing here. I'll just pour some of the cassava bread in the baking pan, and I'll try to even it out and level it to my own liking. If you want it thick, you can put more cassava bread. If you want it light, you can put less. So for me, I don't want it thick, so I went ahead and put less cassava in the baking pan. So I'll go ahead now. I will use a wooden spoon or whatever spoon that you got, just to even it out and give it that nice round shape that I'm looking for. Make sure you cover all the spaces, that you don't have any space. We're just trying to give it a little bit nice shape. You don't want it to be all over the place. It will not look nice after. So basically, this is what I'll keep on doing, and I'll show you the end product. At this point, I'm just going to use my spoon to flatten it a little bit so that it's not thick, because I don't like it thick. But if you want it thick, it's all up to you. You can do it anyhow. I like to flatten it a little bit, and by pressing the spoon against the cassava, it also makes the other side of the cassava to cook well and to be brown. So that basically, this is what I will keep on doing. And at the end of everything, like I said, I will show you the end product of the cassava bread. And guys, if your own way of preparing cassava bread is different than mine, please don't forget to leave a comment down in the comment section so that I can also learn your own way of preparing it. We are all here to learn. I'm always open to new ideas, to new techniques, especially when it comes to cooking. So please, if you have your own way of cooking it, don't forget to leave a comment down below so that I will also try that technique. But this is my own way of preparing cassava bread, especially when I'm living in the diaspora. In my country, they make it a little bit smaller than this, but I don't have the option, so I'm just using my baking pan to do it to my own liking. At the end of the day, the size of the cassava bread doesn't matter really. It's just the process of how to prepare it. That's the main important thing. You can make it to any size that you prefer. Guys, I went ahead and fried the fish as well. If you are from Sierra Leone, you know we eat cassava bread with fried fish. So this is the end product of my cassava bread. I have my cassava bread, fried fish, and I did a little bit of side salad, and I also did pepper sauce. If you want to know how I make my pepper sauce, please comment down below and I will make a special video on how I prepare my special pepper sauce. Guys, don't forget to like and subscribe, and please share as well with your friends, and I'll see you in my next video.